too early to end the season.
Welcome back to the
I'm
show.
ready.
I'm Rob. I'm here with Mike and Joe. This is the Hogs, Hops, and Hope podcast. Yes, Mike is back. We got hot takes, cold beers, zero credentials, even though, once again, I am more right than the people with credentials. Anyway, Mike, welcome back. You missed a fun show last week. Joe and I held it down without you, but it's always better when you're here.
And then some, apparently. It was pretty long-winded. We need Mike to reel us in a little.
It's a long show. That's all right.
We had a lot to talk about. We had to fill your stuff, so it went longer.
Okay. Good. I'll work the math out on that here as we do this. Before we jump into it, I do have one thing I just want to throw out there, and I missed out on all the fun jokes last week. At what point did we remove the hope from the name of our podcast? Just asking.
It's got to be soon, right?
Anyway.
Well, we hope we always have good beers to drink. So,
all right.
So with that being said, I'll lead off. I've got a Ride On Tropical IPA from Golden Road Brewery. I've had one of the Golden Road Brewery's beers before. They're right down the street here in Glendale, California. It's a tropical IPA, 7.2 on the alcohol meter for those who are keeping score at home. Mike, what you got for us tonight?
I didn't get out, so I got my standard Yingling for tonight. Wasn't able to go get good. So, no, I mean Yingling is good, but something different.
All right, Joe.
I'm changing everything up tonight. As you can see, I'm not wearing a jersey out of protest. I'm still a little pissed off and bitter about last week's game. So not only that, I'm not even drinking a real beer. I'm drinking an apple cider. It is a blood orange apple cider. It's from the Austin East Ciders. It is semi-sweet and citrusy.
All right, just like you.
That's it. No, I'm semi-bitter right now, really. So
there ain't no semi there, but okay.
We've gone way beyond that. Well, boys, say it's a
do we even
disappointing
need to talk
loss
about it?
Huh? What?
Like, do we even really need to talk about it? It sucked. It was awful. Was there any highlights to talk about?
Sure. If you want to look at very small samples of the game without anything around it. Okay. For instance, Tress Way has a beautiful, beautiful punt that lands on the 2-yard line, pins Dallas in deep. And that was, it was beautiful. Percy Butler grabbing the ball, downing it. That you can't draw it up any better than that. For that, it's a 15 out of 10. It was perfect. And what did that lead to?
I was going to say, was that the one that led to the safety?
It led to a safety. So there's your positive for the game.
2 points. Woohoo!
Hey!
You did it. You found something that we could be happy about.
No,
we should just end the show right now.
Nope, I'm going to follow up on that. I'm going to follow up on that. I'm going to stay positive because that made the score 7-2. Dallas was winning. But what happened after that? Washington got the ball back because they got the free kick. 7 plays, 65 yards later, they score a touchdown. They're winning 8-7. Now we can end the podcast.
All right. We don't need to talk about the 2-point conversion that they did not complete. And,
You're reading my mind.
So there was 8 good minutes to talk about. Got
it. No, so Washington lost. They what was it? 44-22 was the final score. They doubled Washington up. This game was over pretty much when it started. Dallas was scoring easily. The only time they didn't score, it felt like, is when Washington got the safety. But Uh, Washington just played a. Okay, now granted, they were without Terry, Noah Brown, and Debo. So apparently that means they had absolutely no one to throw the ball to. Like
Except the
apparently they
chosen
were
one.
playing. Well, yeah, except for the people that they threw the ball to. But I mean, this was the scuttlebutt is they have no one to throw the ball to with your top 3 receivers out. That Jayden hasn't had an opportunity to build a rapport with anybody else on the team who catches the ball, which I call BS on that. But I, uh, uh, Mike, since you missed all last week, we're going to go to you first.
I mean,
what give me your thoughts on the game? Give me a highlight. Give me something that made you pissed off. Give me something here.
A highlight. I guess the highlight was interesting to see people. I don't know. It took me, I don't know how long to figure out who Chosen was, what his name, but he still caught 4 passes for 36 yards. So I've been I look at some of the stats, 16 receptions, 219 yards compared to Dallas had 21 for 264. That doesn't look like a 22-44 game. Like we've talked about this before. The numbers don't look as bad as they looked. I mean, I had my head in my hands the whole entire game, and then when I start looking at stuff, I'm like, when the hell did they get 200 receiving yards? Like, it didn't. There were a couple of receptions. I'm not saying there weren't, but I just, I
You
don't
mean
know.
when did Washington get 200 receiving yards?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good question. That's a very good
So,
question.
I mean, 136 rushing yards. Shit. Jayden at
Yeah.
the Hey, I guess here's a plus. Jayden didn't have any interceptions.
Well, that's okay. He made up with that for a fumble with the fumble. So, you know.
I okay. Well, so I wasn't going to mention that part.
How many yards did Bill have?
On the ground, he had
Yeah.
13 carries for 33 yards.
33.
For those keeping track at home, that's a 2.5-yard average.
And he had one less than Marcus Mariota had 34, who had one less than Jayden at 35. So,
yeah. So there's your top 3 rushers.
which I will say, I felt like we were seeing, it felt like the scrambly Jayden has to run to make something happen. And I remember watching him on one where I'm like, oh, he's going to get hurt again because he start trying to make things happen. And
yeah. You know, you're right. That's exactly how this game was playing out. Where you know, whether it was just perceived or actual, Jayden, looked like Jayden felt he had to put the team on his shoulders and just start running around to make plays happen. And I know no one likes the comparison, but that's kind of what RG3 had to deal with. I know they're not the same and the injuries aren't the same. I'm not trying to go necessarily down that road, but there are similarities. So he does this, and now he's got a hamstring issue. Well, the hamstring issue, so he's out. He's not playing against Kansas City. We already know that. The team announced that today. I announced it yesterday, so I'm ahead of the team. I knew he wasn't going to play this week. He's got to heal that hamstring because that's going to be easily aggravated. So where is this team going? I mean, they're 3-4 now. They're behind the Cowboys in the standings now. They only have an 11% chance of making the playoffs as of right now. They got to go on the road to Kansas City on a Monday night game. Then they got to play Seattle. Seattle's 5-2. Then they get Detroit. Detroit's what, 5-2 as well. I feel we can just wash, rinse, repeat everything. Where's this team going? I feel like we're saying this question every week. Where's this team going?
Down the shitter.
It's a smart man right there.
I mean,
I know I'm supposed to be the optimistic one, actually.
yeah,
right?
You are.
That's how bad the team is right now. You guys have screwed Joe over in the head. He doesn't know up from down anymore.
I mean, we talk, we talked about them winning double digit, and will they win? Are they going to win 10 this year? Now I'm like, are they going to win 5 this year? And this is with 3 wins under the belt. I'm like, I'm not sure. I don't know that they got 2
They
more wins in them.
moving forward from here, based on everyone's records as of now, they have the 8th hardest schedule for the rest of the season. And like I said, at this point, you have Kansas City, Seattle, and Detroit as your next 3 games. Now, granted, Seattle and Detroit are at home, but how confident are we that they can win even one of those 3 games with all the injuries they have? Dorrance Armstrong is out now for the season because, I mean, I don't even know why he was playing to begin with. He didn't practice all last week because of a hamstring, and then he goes out and he has a severe knee injury. So there's another defensive end that's now on injured reserve for this team.
He was also our sack leader, wasn't he?
Yeah, yeah. And the way this team is going, he's going to end up being the sack leader at the end of the season without playing the remaining games. Because no one else on this team can get to the quarterback. I mean, what the Lattimore is, man, I almost feel sorry for him because it's like he's the wimpy kid on the playground and he's getting picked on by all the bullies and no one is standing up for him. Dallas's play call was, hey, who's lined up against Lattimore? Okay, we're throwing the ball there. And I mean, I guess we better hope that Terry and Debo can play this week. Joe and I, we talked about this. We don't expect Noah Brown to play the rest of the season. At least I don't expect him really to play the rest of the season, quite honestly. But if Marcus doesn't have anybody to throw the ball to, I mean, they're now a 12.5-point underdog to Kansas City. The opening line was 6.5 points. And when Washington lost to Dallas, it went to 9.5. And when the news came out that Jayden wasn't playing, it went to 12.5. That's going to put the team at what, 3-5? I don't even know how many games we've played because I'm trying to get them out of my mind as soon as they happen at this point.
Yeah, that'll be 3-5.
3-5. 3-5 with still a tough. I mean, we haven't even played Philly yet. We still have to play Dallas again. Yep. Joe, you look like you're just stewing, like you're ready, like you just want to break something.
It was a bad game to watch. We didn't play well. We're not looking good. Everything we talked about before the season started, where we had such a great time last year, we had a good record last year. We talked about all of the good luck we had. We didn't have injuries. Yes. The ball seemed to fall our way. Everything was going our way last year, and we had a miracle season. And then this year, we're just having the worst luck. I mean, all these injuries, we're having,
but it's not all injuries, though. It's not all injuries.
It's not, but that's
not playing well.
No, but I think yes. Yep. We're not playing well.
It's threefold. There's injuries. Obviously, the team didn't have this many injuries last year. I mean, it's not even close, right? 2, the players that are playing are not playing well. The players that you need to play well are not playing well. And 3, the coaching, especially on the defensive side of the ball, is not good.
Yep.
So other than that,
I mean, I'm reminded of the film Weird Science when they're driving in the Cadillac and they driving all over the place, and Anthony Michael Hall's in the back seat flying all over the place, and Lisa turns around, she says, "How we doing back there?" And he says, "Well, other than my nuts being halfway up my ass, I'm perfect." So I feel that's where this team is.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm looking for something. You guys don't even know what I'm talking about. Go watch Weird Science.
I've seen it.
It was a rough game, and looking forward, who knows what's going to happen. I mean, we know what's going to happen this week, but for the future games, like it's like if we can get healthy, if we can kind of get our head out of our asses and get out of our own way and have some balls fall our way.
Okay,
Maybe.
so let's talk about that for a second, because look, they're not going to make a coaching change. So we agree, I believe we agree, that coaching is one of the issues, especially, again, as I said, on the defensive side of the ball. Joe Witt is not doing very well. I don't think anybody would claim otherwise. He's not going to be fired, so we can't even talk about that because it's pointless. But injuries. So we know that there's severe injuries because we've had a number of players be put on injury reserve. But like Cosme came back, so he was back this game. He had a good game, for his first game back. Hopefully that's supposed to shore up the offensive line. That's something we talked about. But the only way to get healthy is to sit some of these people out. Like, we know Jayden's not playing against Kansas City, and we don't know the full extent to his hamstring issue, but you can look at history of hamstring issues, especially in the NFL. These are injuries that don't necessarily just go away.
Isn't that what Terry has?
Who knows what injury Terry has? I don't know.
I thought his was listed as a hamstring injury, and he's been out 3 weeks now.
He's been out 3 weeks, right? So if the only way to get healthy is to sit people. Okay, so let's sit people. Let's sit Jayden for this week. We know that's happening. Let's sit Terry for another week. Let's sit Debo for another week. Like, nobody thinks they're going to beat Kansas City, right? They've never won in Kansas City. They're, I think, 0-8 at Arrowhead Stadium overall. So, and the last time they played there, they got embarrassed, which was many years ago. If we don't think the team's going to win, then Jayden's out. That's already a given. Then let's sit Debo. Let's sit Terry. Let's let some of these let Luke and Jalen Lane be your starting receivers and treat them as such. Let's try and get Bill more involved. Let's see what Ben Sinnott could do. Let's put on the defensive line, there's no defensive ends left. So let's put Frankie Louvu, forget him playing linebacker, just make him a defensive end. Let him rush the quarterback. That's it. And then put in who's the linebacker that everybody loves, their 5th round pick from a couple years, McGee or something like that. I don't even know the players anymore. I don't even care.
No point in learning their names, or only have 1-year contracts anyway.
Right. Jordan McGee. Let him play linebacker with Wagner. I mean, because what are you going to do? Have Bobby Wagner cover Jason Kelsey? Wow, he'll just go for 4 touchdowns and 300 yards himself. I mean, so are we at that point where we say we let people rest for 2 or 3 weeks and we just chalk up, okay, we're going to lose to Kansas City and we're going to lose to Seattle, and then maybe at that point everyone's started to get healthy and we can play everybody against Detroit and start the second half of the season with I guess in theory, a fully healed roster?
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think the most infuriating thing about this is if the roles were reversed, if we were having a really good team and there was a team coming to our stadium and they were the underdogs by 12.5 points, you'd sit there and be like, oh, this is a cupcake game. And then we'd screw the pooch and we would lose that game. And it's like,
yes,
that shouldn't happen.
That's the Washington team of old. Yes, I agree.
Yes. And it's like, so couldn't we have the same magic going into Kansas City? And the answer is no.
You know what? It's funny. I was talking to somebody about this. I was actually talking to a person about this. It wasn't online. It was actually talking to a person, a fellow fan, and he said the exact same thing, Joe, except he left off the last part about how it would never happen. Is why can't Washington go in and kind of surprise everyone? They tend to do that. There's always that one game every season where they win a game that they weren't supposed to win. He referenced a couple years ago when they beat the undefeated Steelers, when Washington was real bad and they beat the Steelers, and the Steelers were like the last undefeated team at the time. So, okay, we're all bad mouthing the team here. We got no problem doing that. Do we think there's any possibility that Washington could go in, whether Terry and Debo are playing, since those seem to be the two injuries that are up in the air right now? Do we think Washington could go in and against a Kansas City team that's been playing much better and beat them in Kansas City?
I could see him beating the spread and being only 10 points behind, assuming Kansas City takes their foot off our throat. I mean, like, no, I don't see it.
Las Vegas last week, something like that.
Who, Kansas City?
Yeah, Kansas City. Yeah, I mean I know they started off a little rough, but they're good games. No, I think the answer is no. We're not going to be able to do that. Not without Jayden. Not without Terry, Debo, all these guys. No, not next week or this week.
Okay, so
I know I'm being the negative one, but no.
I think we all are. There's
yeah,
nothing to be positive
because you're the
about
negative
right
one in this podcast. So okay, so all right, so if none of us think they're going to beat Kansas City, and do I have the right idea that maybe they should, regardless of where they are in their recovery, because Dan Quinn just keeps saying, "Oh, Terry and Debo, they're on the right road to recovery or something." Should we just sit them and say, like, don't even try? Like, can we just rest them and heal them and chalk this up to a loss and say, um, we shouldn't, like, just chalk this up to a loss and not, let people heal? Do we think that's a good idea, or am I just so far out of it that I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, which is completely possible?
I think given where things are, the number of injuries, I wouldn't rush anyone back. I wouldn't put anyone out there this week that isn't 100%. So yes, I would give them an extra week to heal if they need that. If they're healthy, if Terry was truly ready to go, then yeah, he should be out there. But
I'm going to disagree. I think these guys need all the practice they can get right now. They all need to be out playing.
okay, well, you're allowed to be wrong sometimes.
Well, okay, so but if that
I'm wrong a lot.
if they re-injure themselves, that's it, then we really start thinking about, okay, well then they're not going to be available for Seattle and possibly against Detroit, and then you're not in a good space. You'd be 3-5, I guess. Is that right?
Well,
Is that
yeah,
what
well,
we said?
3-5 against Seattle. 3-6 after Seattle.
Okay, and then you got to hope going to Spain to beat Miami is the rebound game to get us back on track. How confident are we with that? I mean, I realize I'm a couple of weeks ahead, but I mean, come on, that's what we're looking at here.
That's the type of game that we're going to screw the pooch in Miami, who's 1 and
Can you guys
whatever
hear me?
they are right now, 1-6.
Who, Miami? Yeah, they're 1-6, I think.
They're 1-6. I feel like that's the type of game that they go ahead and they win and make us look bad.
Especially since we're traveling to Madrid.
Yeah.
I mean,
but so are they. That travel thing works both ways for both teams.
I understand that, but I mean, they're both East Coast, so same travel time, even though Miami, I guess, would have a little bit longer flight. Yeah. If you want to get all technical and stuff. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, they're getting a couple of weeks ahead of ourselves, but
yeah.
I mean, this game against Dallas was ugly to say the least. Jayden gets injured again. Armstrong gets injured, season-ending injury. He's out. We don't know the status of Terry and Debo for this week against Kansas City, but it sounds like that doesn't really matter to any one of us. So
I can't I can't agree with you that we need to rest players that if they're good to go, they need to go. We need the best man playing. We got to try and win these games, even though we're pretty sure we're going to lose probably the next 3 games. But let's look at each one. We'll deal with each one each week for us. So looking at Kansas City, we're pretty sure we're going to lose that one.
right.
But it doesn't make sense to not try. Put our best foot forward.
I don't. I agree. I agree. We should put our best foot forward. I just think if any of these guys that are coming back from injury are questionable, that's not our best foot. So don't put it forward right now because we're not, don't risk to Rob's point, don't risk further injury or anything like that. Go ahead and give them the extra week because we're going to lose this game no matter what.
We haven't released an injury report, right?
I haven't seen anything. I was looking for that. We dealt with this before because they're on Monday night. I think the first official injury report doesn't come out until tomorrow, as we record on Wednesdays. For this, it would come out on Thursday. So I have not seen an official injury report. But okay, so let me shift gears a little bit then, because none of us have said we think the season is lost,
No.
right? Is that a fair, like? We still think this season is salvageable and that we could make the playoffs. Maybe we're not going to get double-digit wins. Maybe you guys are coming more into my field on this one, but we could still make the playoffs, right? I mean, are we still on? We're still there, or are you guys starting to slide a little bit and maybe not? I'm looking big picture now. I'm not looking week to week, but because I'm working my way up to a point here. But let me get your thoughts on that, Mike.
Yeah, we could make the playoffs, but we just talked about we probably lose the next 3, and I don't think we make the playoffs if we lose the next 3. So,
Joe, what are your thoughts on that?
The season's not lost yet. I agree with that.
Okay.
It's not looking pretty for the near future, and us getting to the playoffs would be a long shot at this point. Okay. I'm not ready. I don't disagree with what Mike's saying. I'm just not ready to face that music yet.
No, and that's understandable. What did I see today? So Washington has an 11% chance of making the playoffs right now. Okay. The Cowboys have a 19% for what that's worth. So what I'm leading up to is this. The trade deadline is August 4th, I believe. Or excuse me, November 4th. Like I don't even know what month it is anymore. November 4th. So that is after the Seattle game. So we have 2 games before the trade deadline. Now, they made moves last year. That's when they were traded for Lattimore. So, what do you think? Like this always becomes a topic in baseball and hockey. Are you a buyer or a seller? So, with the trade deadline in 2 weeks, do we think Washington's going to be a buyer or a seller? Or could they just do nothing?
I'm thinking do nothing.
Mike?
That's a great question. I was kind of in the do nothing camp, but if they lose the next 2, I think playoff hopes dwindle probably below the 11%. We got a bunch of guys on 1-year contracts. Do you try to dump one of those to a contender who needs something? I don't know. I would say do nothing. I'm with you, Joe, but if they lose both those games, maybe there's and the right deals to be made. Maybe they're a buyer or a seller.
Okay, so along those lines, would you trade someone like Brandon Coleman if the offer was right? I'm not saying trade him just to trade him, and we don't know what the right offer was be. But Brandon Coleman, been on the bench for the last several weeks. He's not getting any playing time, and with Cosme coming back, I think that just pushes Coleman down the list. Is he someone that you could see maybe being traded then?
Yeah, I could. And then again, for the right deal, I'd trade my own brother.
Well, maybe not all your brothers, but some of them. I would trade one. I would definitely trade one of your brothers, but
For the right deal.
for the right deal. Hey, even for the wrong deal, I'd trade one of your brothers. For the wrong deal, I might even trade one of mine. Who knows? But I mean, that's going to be the next topic of conversation that really comes up is the trade deadline, because the NFL over the last couple of years has become more and more has gotten more and more active at the trade deadline, and I think this is a team that was supposed to be building through the draft, and we've traded away a lot of draft picks. We traded away picks to get Lattimore. We traded away picks to get Tunsil. We traded picks to get Debo. Now, granted, we got some back when we traded Brian Robinson, but yeah, I mean, look, we mentioned before, are we going to have another 20-player turnover next season? And how do you build a roster? We knew this team had a lot of holes when Dan Quinn came in and Adam Peters came in. We knew the team had a lot of holes, and they were going to have to fill these holes. But I mean, this team, people are starting to question Adam Peters and the moves that he's made. You look at the Lattimore trade, people are now finally starting to question that trade. They're looking at the draft picks and did he make the best picks? So I guess I don't know. I'm in my head. It sounds like I'm trying to already talk about next season, but I'm not there yet. I still do think there's hope, and I mean, as long as I have hops, I have hope. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. But I don't know if they can make the playoffs, quite honestly, this year. I don't know that I would take that bet with the way things have gone.
Same.
I don't know. I mean, time will tell. I think we're just all super frustrated with the way the season has gone. But this is what I talked about previously: was I didn't want a one-hit wonder from last season. I wanted continued. I wanted to see consistency, and we don't have consistency this year.
That's what we all said we wanted to see.
Right.
We wanted to see some growth, even if the wins weren't stacking up, but we're not.
So I think but I think that's important to remember, because we have talked about that growth, improvement, all those things, right? So look, we're dealing with injuries. If the last half of this season, not last half, last call it 5, 6 games, we get everybody back healthy. We're already out of the playoffs potentially. Okay, fine. But we start seeing those guys gel and play together and play well, then okay, I can feel better about it, even if they don't hit the 10 wins, don't make the playoffs. But if they play well in that, like I said, those last call it 5, 6 games,
Yep.
that's one thing. Right now, what we're seeing, it's not just losing. It's not just losing to Dallas. It's looking like shit while we lost to them. Looking terrible. I mean,
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'll that twinge of optimism, but I do think it's getting everybody healthy. Joe looks like he disagrees.
No, I think you're absolutely right. I guess what I was just thinking is, as I'm going through everything, really, it's just we're the oldest team in the NFL right now, and we're showing our age. And the 1-year deals that we've created, it's like we just kept trying to patch all these holes to fix everything, just to stop the ship from sinking. And it's just not enough. We do need to build through the draft. So maybe we do need to be unloading everyone we can to get draft picks for next year. And
So let me throw this out, because Joe, you kind of touched on this a little bit. We knew coming out of the Rivera regime that this team had a lot of holes, and so they signed a lot of veteran players to fill these holes. And they signed them to one-year contracts. We joke about it, but it's true. And so last year, it worked out well. Again, we were so fortunate with the way everything went. Lack of injuries, almost always converting fourth down, playing one of the easiest schedules in the NFL. And the team shined. And they went 12-5, and they made it to the NFC Championship game. And it was great. But then we had to replace those holes again because a lot of people are on one-year contracts. And we talked about this in the preseason, or right before the season started, that there were, I think it was 21 or 22 new players. Okay, so great. Are we going to have to do that again next year? Again? And when does that stop?
Right.
You have to develop the younger players. If we're going to build through the draft, you have to develop these players. And right now, I don't see us developing players. When you look at the draft picks, okay, yeah, Jayden, he's getting time. Great. But when you look, Coleman, again, he's not even on the active roster. Ben Sinnott is barely playing. Mikey Sanistril has taken a huge step back this year from what he did last year. McCaffrey he's showing a little bit this year, but he's still like he's almost like a one-hit wonder. Like he'll hit a big kick return or he catches the 50-yard pass, but then it's like, well, what else? What have you done for me lately? These players have to be given playing time to develop. It's not just practice time, it's actual playing time. So at one point, do we stop saying, let's keep plugging holes with one-year contracts and let these kids play?
You look like you're dying to say something, Mike.
Well, so isn't that the problem? You keep saying it's that we're going to build the team from the draft, but what we're actually doing, we're in a win now mentality. So let's bring these guys in.
Yeah.
1 year, we got to win. Jayden, we got to capitalize on Jayden. We got to win. We're not building around him. You're right. So
everyone keeps saying you have to capitalize on Jayden's rookie contract, right? So we're halfway through that.
That's what they say.
We're halfway through that.
So when do you change that mentality and go, okay, no, we actually have to build around him, commit to him being here longer term and build around him? Because we're not building this team from the draft. Except for Jayden. So when do you do that?
I don't know. One thing that concerns me that I was reading in some articles was that Jayden doesn't do well against man-to-man coverage. And I guess Dallas had his number. And it's like, why is he struggling with that so much? And if he's that bad at it, then every defensive coordinator knows exactly what to do. They found his Achilles heel.
Yep. Yeah, he sure did. And Dallas even said as much. They looked at the analytics and said now granted, it didn't help that Terry, at least for Washington, it didn't help that Terry and Debo and Noah were all out. Dallas looked at the numbers, at the analytics, and said, Dallas, who almost exclusively played zone up until this game, played mostly man against Washington because they knew it would be better against the receivers and against Jayden. And they were proven right. Now, granted, there were some drops this last week. I'm not throwing everything on Jayden by any means. There were a number of drops against Dallas. But he also had some really, really bad throws and missed some wide open receivers that he never would have missed under normal circumstances. I love using the air quotes. I shouldn't do that, but I did. Fire me. What do I care? Put me out of my misery.
Nah, you got to suffer through this like the rest of us.
I keep trying to get you guys to fire me, but you won't do it.
Once we get our beer sponsor, we'll stop you from getting the beer. It'll just be for Mike.
Really? Well, again, we need a damn beer sponsor. There's got to be somebody out there that would love to sponsor us. And look, we're not asking for a lot of money. We're just asking for beer.
This is where it took a turn last week. That now it's time to start wrapping this thing up. It was the beer sponsor conversation last week where it really got off the rails.
Yeah, because we weren't off the rails before that. But now that the adult is back in the room. Okay.
Ugh.
All right. So let's wrap this up then. Let's go ahead and let's start to wrap this up then. Let's go. Let's start with the Kansas City game. I mean, obviously we've talked about this already enough, but let's put the bow on this. They're 12.5-point underdogs. They're going to Kansas City on Monday night, and this is what I love. The NFL is getting what it wanted. It wants Washington in prime time, right? Here you go. You're getting Washington in prime time with no Jayden Daniels going to Kansas City. Joe, how confident are you that Washington will win? That's what we always talk about, right? We're confidence level that they'll win. So what, you got a percentage on that?
What, 30%?
Okay. Mike?
20%?
Okay. And well, what do you got, Joe?
No, go ahead. What's your percentage you think they'll win?
I say 0. I don't think they're going to win, and I really honestly don't think they have a chance.
Well, I mean, we both think they're going to lose also. We're all saying
maybe we should change this. So maybe we should be looking at the spread. What are the chances of them beating the spread? How confident are you they can beat the spread?
At 12.5 points, they won't beat the spread. They won't beat the spread.
I think they have a good chance of beating the spread. I have confidence in that. I'm going to say I'm 50.1% confident they'll beat the spread.
Not beating the spread.
They're not beating the spread, Mike?
No.
Okay, so we got 2 people saying no beating the spread. We got 1 person saying they will beat the spread. Okay, so let's we tried to avoid shit like this, but this is what we've become. The over-under is 46.5 points. Mike? Oh, look, I'll go first. I always put you guys on the spot. I'll go first. The over-under is 46.5 points. I'm going to say it's the over. I'm going off of what's on the ESPN site. That's where we're getting the 12.5 points. The over-under is 46.5. Take the over. We've talked about how much we hate the betting sites all involved with this, but this is what we've come to. If we had a beer sponsor, we wouldn't have to talk about betting. So there you go. Maybe we can get a betting sponsorship.
Maybe a betting sponsor.
Mike, what do you got? Over or under the 46.5 points?
I'm going to take the over just because I think Kansas City could put up 46 points by themselves. So yeah, I'm going to take the over.
Joe, what you got?
I guess I have to just pick the under just to be different than you guys, but I don't know.
So Joe, you're going against the grain, and you say that Washington will beat the spread, and they're going to be under. Both teams will be on the under, and Mike and I say that Washington won't beat the spread.
24-14, and that's it. That's what it's got to be, right?
You could even do, yeah, I guess, yeah, because if you want to beat the spread, that's yeah, you don't have a whole lot of room there. So, look, I mean, yeah, I guess I got a little bit of beer left, so it is about time to end the show. But I thought about bringing a backup just in case, but
yeah, you mentioned that last week. You don't need to do that. We have a backup, but not on the show. Once you get to the end of your beer, we definitely should be done by then.
What if I just drink faster and have a backup?
Yeah. I think it still holds true.
Yeah. Thank you, gentlemen. That's why I love y'all. All right. So none of us think they're going to beat Kansas City. Joe thinks they're going to beat the spread of 12.5 points. Mike and I don't think they're going to beat the spread. Mike and I both think they're going to hit the over. Joe thinks they're going to hit the under. But we do not encourage betting. Do not bet on football. Do not bet on sports. Do not become an addict.
Especially based on what we say.
Especially based on what we say. Remember, Part of the tagline is 0 credentials.
Which is
We
how
got
many
nothing.
points I think Washington's going to score next week or on Monday.
Oh, jeez.
All right. Well, here's hoping they at least score something, and maybe Mariota won't throw another stupid pick 6. Any last words that you guys want to throw out to wrap this up?
Oh, yes. I hate the tush push. I'm so fed up with the tush push. I could go on for half an hour about how stupid that fucking play is, and I want it out of the NFL. All right, I'm done.
Well, the NFL has
End the
said that
show.
they're going to try and they're going to try and officiate it better, and call the offsides or the illegal procedures. Sure, they will. It's never going to happen. The play's not going anywhere. Philly's going to keep using it. They'll keep being successful, and they'll beat Washington with it eventually. But anyway, I guess that's going to wrap this show up. Unless, Mike, you got anything you want to get off your lawn? You want anybody to get off your lawn? No?
Nope.
Okay.
I'm good.
Well, Mike, we're glad you're back with us. It's always better when you are here. So until next week, when we talk about the loss to Kansas City and figure out how they're going to beat Seattle, at least that game will be at home because that matters since we're all going to the game or something. Whatever. I guess we'll wrap this up then. So until next week, thanks always for watching, subscribing, clicking the like button, leaving a comment. It does feed our fragile egos because that's all we really have at this point since the team sucks. Bye.
Bye.
There's plenty of time left. It's just not looking good.